Whoa, was that cool or what? Fixed myself a little intro there. That was pretty nice, huh? So very big welcome and welcome back here at Cornerstone Live. We are back again at 8 p.m. And if you've just seen the intro, just put a little bit in the comment box and just put the words cool, C-O-O-L, cool taco. That was pretty cool intro. Thank you very much. Yeah, as of course we are doing these live sessions, we always want to improve a little bit, right? We want to make it better, we want to make it stronger, we want to make it more impactful. So it's my job, of course, to tweak it every time a little bit better so that it's cool. So put in the comment box if you really like the intro. You just say, cool taco, pretty cool what you're doing then. And you must be wondering, why is it only you? Where's your guest? Oh, okay, relax. Our guest is coming. He is waiting to really show you some great value here because we have a super special guest for you tonight. It's none other than Dr. Chin, and Dr. Chin will come up and explain everything that is happening tonight on the coronavirus, COVID-19. We have many questions for him that has to do with the COVID-19. On top of that, he's a pediatrician, so we will talk a lot about children, you know, how affected are children, what is going to happen for the future, what is going to happen in Malaysia, what is going to happen around the world, how much is our business affected. But before I bring him on, I always want to make sure that we have enough guests, right? It's important that we have enough guests because this doctor is taking his valuable time joining us here today at Cornerstone Live. So if you could just do me one favor, please, okay, please. Just share this right now. Just share this link to your friends, to your family. Send it to everybody there because the more people we can get on board right now, the better it is for everybody. Because we have a doctor in the house, ladies and gentlemen, a real doctor here, right? We don't want to disappoint him. He is here with us tonight to share with us everything that is going to happen for what is happening with COVID-19 and everything that is what is happening for our children, what's happening in Malaysia, what is happening around the world. We have some great questions. And on top of that, also, we will allow you to ask any questions you have. So, do you want to get the doctor on board? Yes? Well, the only thing you have to do, we have to let the doctor know that we want him right now. So just put in the comment box right now, doctor, help. Just put it in the comments box, doctor help. And I'm sure if we get enough doctor help, just doctor help, big exclamation mark, doctor help, and I will get Dr. Chin on board. Just put it, I just need 3 doctor helps in the comment box right now. Just put it in doctor help and I will get the Dr. Chin right on board right now. Can I get some doctor helps? Some doctor helps? Otherwise the doctor is not coming. I promise you he's not coming. Some doctor helps? Yeah, shall we get it? Okay, that's great. Now I see them coming. Really great. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, please do me a huge favor. And let me give him a little introduction right now. This gentleman over here that is coming, our doctor, got his academical degree in 1996 in medical faculty. Later on in 2000, became a member of the Royal College of Physicians, pediatric. In 2001, opened a children's specialist clinic known as Klinik Pakar Kanak Dr. Chin at Inkepong. In June 2006, became member of the Royal College of Pediatricians and Child Health. And in 2013, even established another children's specialist clinic known as ABC Children's Specialist Clinic at the Center Point Bandar Utama together with another 2 pediatricians. And in 2019 was appointed as member of Academy of Medicine of Malaysia. Together with that, he has also other activities like he's a speaker for radio stations like IFM 988, MyFM, and also TV channels like TV2, NTV7, and 8TV. And also is regularly invited by parenting magazines, pharmaceutical and milk companies to deliver talks to the public, pharmacists, general practitioners, and other pediatricians. Ladies and gentlemen, please help me welcome Dr. Chin. Good evening,
Hi,
Dr.
Good evening. Thanks for your introduction, Deco.
Well, my pleasure, and it's a great honor to have you with us here tonight. Thank you so much for taking the time being with us. I know you're an extremely busy man. Thank you for being with us. It's really great to have you here.
Thank you.
So to get started, Dr. Chin, like I said, we're very grateful. We are now a little bit over a month in the MCO in Malaysia, right? How have you you experienced this so far?
I think a lot of changes in our life. I think everybody should know, not only in my medical line, in the daily life, right? You cannot go in the. I think in my clinic also the same, right? For example, the patient load reduced, and also the healthy children that come for vaccination that we have to delay, if let's say we can delay. I think overall, I think this coronavirus bring a lot of changes to our life globally. Everybody should face it. No one can escape.
Very, very good. Yeah, it's definitely a huge change for many people in many people's life. Like I did in your introduction, Dr. Chin, you know, you were a doctor at your clinic in Kepong Chin Child Care since 2001. You've been in the medical line for, so that means over 19 years, even a little bit longer. What is your overall view of the medical landscape here in Malaysia?
I think so far doing great. Only thing I would see that first, Ministry of Health Malaysia should emphasize more on the preventive medicine, like they do a lot of health screening, but the more effort to be put on the awareness among the the young age, right? And second thing, I think the Ministry of Health should do more in the medical line, more to emphasize on the two ages group, namely the young people and the aging population. Young people, because I'm a pediatrician, I think in the landscape of Malaysia health line, they should emphasize more on the kind of a behavioral problem among the children. They should have a community-based, coordinated center for the children, for those who have behavioral problem. And another side is aging population. I think our local Ministry of Health should plan more on the old folks house for the old aging population. Then lastly, I think regarding the crisis preparedness for the COVID, for example, I think they are doing great because we have encountered this pandemic influenza way back the 2009. Yeah, so that time the RD has been formed. So I think for this COVID-19 outbreak, Ministry of Health are doing great.
Wonderful, wonderful. Yeah, I know that they get a lot of praise there also, you know, but before we get there to, you know, what is Malaysia doing, what is happening in the world, right? Can you share with the audience, you know, you have Chin Childcare. What are you specialized in, and why did you actually start this over 19 years ago?
Oh, I graduated as a normal medical doctor in 1996 from a local university, UKM. Then I have an interest in treating children, especially babies. And from there, I further obtained my pediatrician, credited as a consultant pediatrician year 2000. So from there, I just emphasized to a general, what I call community pediatrician, which I don't go further because there are people of my colleagues, they go further pediatrician. So I can touch the biggest group of the healthcare for the children. And I think it's great for me. That's why I opened my own clinic there. And I can talk about the feeding difficulty, something about the behavioral problem issue among the children, even the sexual education for the children, for those who have gained puberty. So for this COVID-19 as well, some general knowledge I will try to share with the parents, but something about to tip, then I can't answer. I will let you know. I'm not sure, right? Because some epidemiologists, or what we call also the infectious specialists, that they have a more knowledge to share with. But what I want to share later on will be all these are the guidelines from the Ministry of Health, and also something has been proven. Yeah, for example, later I'll discuss on why children doesn't show quite a serious illness once they get infected by COVID-19 as compared to adults.
Yes, that is definitely something that has a lot of people talk about that is specifically with this virus. You know, it's mainly affecting the elderly and people that have weak immune systems. and the children seem to, not be affected so much. We'll talk a little bit about that later. But before that, I would really love to open also to the audience. If you're listening to this tonight here with Dr. Chin, feel free to ask any questions, put it in the comment box. I will make sure to line them up. Dr. Chin was so kind to say, yes, let everybody please ask a question. I will be happy to answer them as far as I can answer them, as you just heard from him. And I will make sure to also align you with those questions as soon as possible. So if you have any questions, put them in the comment box, right? So yes, Dr. Chin, let's talk about COVID-19 a little bit, or the corona pandemic, if so many people call it, right? Many people are very unclear about this virus. Could you maybe in simple words clarify a little bit what actually is COVID-19?
COVID-19 actually is a novel virus. It's a new virus. Last year, when the medical professionals in Wuhan identified the unknown origin of pneumonia developed in a short period of time, that with increase of number that people fell sick in the pneumonia, then they identified the gene of the virus is not belongs to any type of the gene before that has infecting the human. So from there, they suspected this is something new virus. So from the sequence of the gene, they identify is a coronavirus members. But further down there, they know there's something new members in the coronavirus family. It's similar to the SARS, severe respiratory syndrome, that outbreak in the 2012, also belong to the coronavirus family. Then later on in 2015, the MERS, Middle East Respiratory Syndrome, also caused by the coronavirus. So for this COVID, is also identified as a coronavirus member. Then from there, they send this to the WHO. Then in early January, WHO also agreed with the CDC in China to say that this unknown origin of a pneumonia was caused by the new coronavirus member. And from there, WHO labeled it as a COVID-19, coronavirus 19.
Okay, very clear. So that is very clear about the COVID-19. Many people are, in all around the world, the thing that is very fascinating is that many countries are dealing with this COVID-19 in a different way. There are full lockdowns. There's an MCO in Malaysia. There are even countries like what I understand in Sweden have not done much about this whole, COVID-19. Many people are wondering right now, looking at other countries, is an MCO really necessary to fight this pandemic, as so many countries do it in different ways?
Yeah, because along the way, the doctor how does virus transmit? So from the experience from the China, so they gain out of experience. The transmission of the virus is from the droplet initially. Then after that, they identify also airborne, which the virus is a small particles and float in the air for at least 3 hours. Then also the virus will settle on the surfaces, for example, the metal, paper, and plastic, and so on. So from the transmission chain, from there they know this virus very infectious. So from the infectious index, we call R0, is a reproductive index. Among the viruses, this COVID-19 is about 3.5. As compared to measles last time, it's more than 10, roughly about 18. So from there, the information they gather, they know we have to stop the chain of transmission of this COVID virus. If let's say this COVID virus doesn't cause death, it doesn't cause any illnesses among the human, we can take it for we have to stop the transmission. So how to stop the transmission? This only thing we can do is a human movement. So from the human movement, we can be strictly locked down or just a partial lockdown, we call MCO. But this also we have to try to balance between the this lockdown together with the social economy, the human daily living, all that. So it's not that easy, And finally, also the human right. Like in the Western country, like in the US, yeah, people will try to say it's a human right to move around. So I think the decision making is not that easy. So according to epidemiologists, all the past history, the outbreak in the year 1918, 1919, the influenza outbreak now because Spanish flu. So also the same. Finally, they have to lock down. But always the history tells us before the death, we sometimes do something over too much. Like last time when we were come China, why they want to lock down completely is really against the human right. Why they want to do so much thing. But sometimes when it have happened, or a lot of the death case, then we look back in the history. If we don't lock down, there'll be more death. Right? So you can sometimes to strike this balance is not that easy. But I think now because of the technology, they can share a lot of experience. In fact, Malaysian doctor has a live communication with the China doctors, so to see and to know more experience in treating this COVID. So come back to this question: lockdown, MCO, whether do or not do, human right and versus the social economy. Not that easy. So you must have a discussion between these health department as well as epidemiologists, the one who doing all the statistics, and also the infectious specialists.
Exactly. A little bit of a follow-up question that I would like to raise with that, is I think it also has to do with the like you said, the amount of information that we knew a few weeks ago, or let's say 2 months ago about the COVID-19, right? I remember Prime Minister of Holland say, we have to make 100% of the decisions with 50% of the knowledge that we have right now, and that's very difficult, right? How much have we actually learned in the past 4 weeks about this COVID-19? How much more do we know?
Okay, I think in terms of the transmission, it's quite clear. Yeah, how does it transmit, and also the incubation period. Yeah, it takes about few days until the 14 days. Okay, now the challenging point, the latest finding will be the asymptomatic carrier. So this is very challenging to the healthcare providers. Unless we have a mass testing, the mass screening, that with a quick result. For example, the rapid test, which must be a very good accuracy. That means very sensitive to pick up this carrier. This is not that easy. So of course, at the end will be the virus sequence. From there, the scientists can invent the vaccine into 24 months, right, to see the effectiveness. So I think the past few weeks, what we can see is more to the COVID infection. How does it cause death? Initially, we thought about it's an upper airway infection that can cause a lung injury. So you have a low oxygen, then lead to the multi-organ failure. But at the end, they have, from the experience, they have tried a lot of drugs. One of the drugs, what we call anti-malaria drug, which is supposed to be the drug, is a very old drug to treat the parasite infection in human called malaria. So from the experience, they see that this anti-malaria drug does well in terms of treating the ill patient with the COVID-19. So from that, they derive some theory. This COVID infection not only affect the lung, so there also some damage to the red blood cell, because this drug actually to protect our human red blood cell. So along the to make the COVID-19 patient not go into to the death or other complication. So I think it's a one day decision, and also the management and the treatment should gather all the experience from China and also from Western country they have treating the COVID.
Wonderful. You mentioned it already a little bit. You were talking about the vaccines, right? Many governments, and I think even the WHO, have mentioned that a vaccine would be probably one of the only solutions that eventually we could go back to a life without COVID-19. They also mentioned that it could take 12 to 18 months before a vaccine is ready. Why does it take so long to get a vaccine ready?
In fact, with the latest modern technology, 12 to 18 months is considered very, very fast.
Okay.
All right. And you must know that the virus, I will always tell the parents, the virus is like a lock. The lock that attacks our human body. Our human body will try to make the key to open the lock and kill the virus, but it takes time. That's why in COVID infection, for those who have a strong immune system, they can make the lock faster and kill the virus. So whatever treatment that given to the patient is more to support, like for example, the ventilator to help the patient to breathe, and there's other antivirus medicine to help the whole human body to fight the virus. So basic thing is still the immune system. So now to make the vaccine, we have to first identify the virus, which segment of the virus can stimulate the human body to make the key. So from there, the scientist will chop the RNA of the virus to make it weaken. Then from there, inject to the human body, that it will stimulate the human body to does not affect the human health. So from sustainable must be protective. That means there must be certain level of the antibody in the human to protect the human body. So the vaccine has been made. There must be trial on the rat, on the monkey, and on the human body. From there, they must do a survey, different races, different countries, what are the response of the antibody level. Then from there, they must be safe, not much of side effect, and most important, the protective level is there. Then only from there, they will do the mass production and distribute to the whole world. You cannot give the vaccination to, let's say, this manufacturer from the Europe. You cannot give this vaccine to the Europe, US, because the global travel will actually transmit the virus to anywhere. So it will be only distributed to all the countries in the world. So all this, all in, might take 12 to 18 months.
Okay, that's very clear. Okay, that's very good. In the meantime, we got a question from Grace Ho. The question is here: if kids are infected with COVID and recovered, do they still carry the virus strain, hypothetically, in the strain if the strain is dormant? And is there any long-term effect, especially with the virus known to affect the lungs?
Okay, first, once you recover from the COVID, let's say the COVID coronavirus, for sure there's no more virus in the body. But what the body has will be the antibody towards the COVID-19. But now the scientists might be doubtful the level of the antibody, will it sustain long enough to protect the child from the second bout of a COVID-19? So that's one still unsure. But for sure, once the child recovers, there will be no more virus in the body. Then second question is the child recover from the COVID. Does it affect the lung? That very much depends on how much the lung has been damaged. Because you must know, the virus attack our airway. From the airway, we will damage to the lung. And because of that, the lung damage will try to regenerate all the tissue to recover. Very difficult to tell. Only the physician will check the lung from the stethoscope, the air entry, as well as also the CT scan will tell you how much the lung has been damaged.
Okay. Thank you so much for that answer. Great question, Grace. Keep the questions coming. Very good. We have another question here from KK. Would the drugs be better or a vaccine be better?
Certainly, of course, a vaccine, because vaccine is a preventive medicine. Because, which I mentioned just now, once you inject the vaccine, is a weakened virus, which you inject to the body, it will stimulate the body immune response to produce an antibody. So once you have the antibody, what I symbolize is as a key. So in future, you are unlucky, you get infected by COVID, so-called infected, that means the virus will come and attack you. You already got the key ready in your hand to kill the virus. There's no opportunity given to the virus to attack you and make you much better than the medicine. In fact, now there's no specific medicine for the COVID. All the medicine has been used to treat all the COVID patients all the while globally are actually from the experience from the Wuhan. So they will try antivirus medicine that has been used for treating the SARS and treating the MERS. Well, both of them are the same members. All right. Then there's a new, not a new drug, it's a novel treatment. They use anti-malaria drug, which I mentioned just now, because they know some of the COVID patients, they have a kind of a presentation with the red blood cell burst. So it seems like virus also attack the red blood cell. So the anti-malaria drug will try to protect the red blood cell. So all this is learned from experience in the only past few months.
Yeah, very wonderful. Just a short announcement in between. If you see Dr. Chin, sometimes his screen is a little freezing. That is not your problem. We have tried to fix that. That is just for 1 second and then it continues again. So apologies for that, but it's what we have to do right now. So continuing with the questions, a big question that I was really looking forward to ask you, Dr. Chin, is something that I've been fascinated about, is the difference of the people that are being affected and the ones that are not. Because it seems like the elderly and people with a low immune system seem to be most affected. And like children seem to be the least affected. Why is this?
Okay, talk about the low immune system. First, you can see the death rate will be very high. For example, above 60, the death rate we call the mortality rate or the fatality or what we call mortality rate. Yeah, about 10%. If your age catching up about 70 years old, your mortality rate can up to the 30%. Even the statistics show globally, you can see the death rate is higher in the aging population. Generally, you must accept that the age population, they have a low immune system. And on top of that, they might have what we call comorbid factors. Comorbid factors are the disease, hypertension, diabetes, heart disease, or those who are chronic smokers. They already have a so-called some extent of a lung damage. So when they have a attack of this COVID infection, the immune system is lower, the lung function is not that good, they will succumb to the death is higher than other younger population. Then talking about the children, so from the experience, they have found that the children has kind of a very mild symptoms or even some asymptomatic. I have a colleagues who work in the children ward in the government hospital. Yeah, they can see the children running around, although the COVID-19 is positive in their blood, right? So what the theory postulated is still the postulation. First, the COVID-19, you must know the mechanism. How does it attack the airway? You know, the virus outside the human body is something like a particles. It doesn't poo-poo, it doesn't eat anything, it doesn't do anything at all. Once to other humans, they try to attack our cells along the airway. But for them to attack the cell, they must attach to the small, they call receptor. So this receptor we call ACE in the along the cell wall, along the airway. So they postulated that children, because they're still small, their ACE receptor are not so many as compared to adults. So the virus, once they access to the airway, it doesn't attach to the airway cell so easily. That's one postulation. Second postulation also, when virus attach to the airway, it will stimulate our immune system to fight. Sometimes in adult, our immune system, they have a lot of what we call immune system cell, different what we call soldiers, different type of soldiers. They connect each other by the chemical signals. So in adult, the chemical signals is out of sudden is so strong, it will excessively bomb all the. In children, their immune system rather immature. So we call the white blood cell storm will be less as compared to children, to adult. So lastly, children, because they exposed to all these upper airway viruses, including other non-so serious coronaviruses that cause upper airway infection. Somehow or rather, they postulate children also have this kind of antibody with a cross protection, meaning to say they have a key. Although this key is not for the COVID-19, it's key for other coronavirus members. So it might actually kill the COVID-19 as well. So these three postulations population, they share in this the experience that I gained from my pediatric chat group.
Wow, that's really fascinating, and it's really interesting to learn the difference in that and how that works for children.
Yes,
there's another. Luckily, definitely. You know, that children are less affected, but still very unfortunate for the elderly, of course. If it, Grace asks here, if it takes approximately 8 months to get a vaccine, how long do you expect to cultivate and mass produce a vaccine and make it available globally? How long do you think that would take?
I can't answer this question, but generally you see, once the vaccine has been developed, let's say trial on the human, very fantastic protection above 90%, not much of side effect. From manufacturer, like for example, now I quote for example of influenza. In Malaysia, influenza also a shortage because I think you all know lately, also late of December, there's a small kind of outbreak of influenza cases in Malaysia. We also out of stock of the influenza vaccine because we cannot produce our own vaccine. So we have to rely on the manufacturer. It can be in Europe or can be the EU, US. I'm sure the country itself will produce a vaccine to their citizens first. Then from there, export to the other countries like Malaysia. But in come to the Malaysia, then I hope the Ministry of Health also will control the distribution of the vaccine to deal with the public, like supermarket cashier, teachers, or those who have like a driver in the transport system. So the vaccine finally come to the normal population, I think another long time. Of course, we hope by 18 to 24 months. That's why I would say today's topic is quite interesting. We will later discuss more on the after MCO lifted. Will our life back to the normal?
Yeah. That's a good point. We are also getting some questions there, but just to closely, talk about COVID, and then we go and talk about the healthcare system and see what happens when the MCO is lifted. Malaysia is currently, actually internationally being praised for its efforts and how it's dealing with the pandemic crisis, right? Do you agree with this view internationally? And what do you think we should additionally do right now during this MCO?
All right, I think certainly we are very happy to see the number reducing. Really satisfied for that. Of course, the people will try to question: does Malaysia have done a lot of screening tests? Is that sufficient enough to pick up all the cases? I think until this level, decision to have a partial lockdown MCO is correct, and also identify the certain cluster of the transmission, also very good action. And they try to do the contact tracing until the level 4, level 5. Like for example, the cluster in Kuching, no more transmission after the level 5. So I think so far it's very good. But for the incoming few weeks, I think what I think ministry should do will be the mass tracking for those who are the high risk. Like for example, in Singapore, the laborer that stay in the quarter very congested, those who are high risk, sometimes they are asymptomatic. So I think they should do the mass kind of frontliners. All right, so we can catch those who are asymptomatic earlier, then quarantine them. Right, whatever they have done so far is fantastic. Now to more than that will be the mass screening. But talk about the mass screening, then you talk about the test kit. The test kit must be kind of rapid enough to know the result, because at the moment we are using the PCR. You take 24 hours at least to know the result. So the rapid test, according to the DG, Dr. Noor Hisham, it seems like going to import this one test kit, very sensitive, from the Korea, that will know the result within hours. So I think that's a way to go. Mass tracking, mass screening.
Very good, very good. Okay, that is really interesting. So we have to do more tests. We need to be able to get to test very quickly, right? Although at the same time, globally, and also locally here in Malaysia, we see less cases. The numbers look promising. Although the amounts of tests we don't know yet. as the curve is coming down, a lot of countries are now talking, okay, we have to start strategizing for a after MCO, right? Or some countries like after lockdown strategy. What do you believe the next step will be after an MCO?
All right. I think one thing for sure, some people will believe after MCO has been lifted, this COVID-19 will disappear. That's not the truth. That's just the illusion. So I think first we must accept after MCO lifted, the virus will be still there. It's not like diminish or disappear all of a sudden, right? Second thing is vaccine is not ready between 1 year or at least 18 months. So we have to wait for the vaccine. Third, there's no special miracle treatment for COVID, okay? And the mortality rate is generally about 5%, the death rate, 5%, especially age population. The normal life we have like previously. So I think after MCO, a lot of modification should be done. Any one of us, including like medical healthcare provider like us. I think the first thing will be the social distancing. So when you talk about this social distancing, that's going to affect any part of our life. For example, shopping mall, catering, party, birthday, right? Including the clinic, which I will mention later on, how to we adjust to it. Sanitizer, your hand, face mask, then all of us have to take the responsibility to do that.
Absolutely, absolutely. And yes, you're right. We will touch on that a little bit later, how that works in the clinic and what we do need to expect, on our day-to-day lives, in our business, family, friends, parties, like you mentioned, right? How would our environment look like? A difficult question, but I'm going to ask it anyway. Do you believe that Malaysia will lift the MCO on the 28th? And if not, what numbers do we need to be comfortable with before we can get to a lifted MCO?
Okay, I think this decision should be made day by day. It's too early to make it now. From my view, if let's say there's no more new cluster developed, okay, that means no new cluster developed, they're going to do contact tracing, or the existing cluster has no more transmission, maybe until the level 4, level 5, there's no more new cases from the old clusters. Third will be the number reducing. All right. Then comfortably, the Ministry of Health will declare the lifting of the MCO. But I think now still too early to tell. It's more to like a day-to-day decision making.
Very good, very good. Yeah, that's pretty probably also the government still doesn't know. Some people say, there is already a phase 4 in preparation. Of course, they always need to be prepared, but it's always based on what are the numbers, because they don't know how the numbers develop themselves. So they need to know how this goes along. We have a special question from Jasper also about the MCO. He asks, let's say the MCO is lifted by the 28th. Would you suggest the children go back to school as normal?
Yeah, I think we should touch about this later. Should I answer now?
Why not touch on it now? The question is here right now. Yes.
All right. Again, after MCO, which I mentioned just now, there won't be go back to a normality we have previously. So some measures are going to be taken. The first will be the social distancing, right? This is not easy to be done. Yeah, you need all the cooperation, responsible people. That whatever we do must be a distance, including the crowded area like the school. So I think after MCO, let's say, has been lifted, I think Ministry of Education will judge any small outbreak or not, because like now Wuhan, sometimes there will be an imported case. That's why one of the because you see, once the 28 has been lifted, the MCO on for sure, because the virus won't die out unless the vaccine has been developed. So what I think is after MCO has been lifted, MOE might take another 2 weeks to see, because bear in mind this COVID virus have an asymptomatic incubation period for 2 weeks. So whatever child has been forced sick, it won't present. So from the 28, another 14 days. So they will observe. If let's say no more surge of an outbreak of a certain number increase in the COVID, then they will come up with certain guidelines for sure. I'm sure the MOE, the Ministry of Education, will come up some measure that to tell all the school to do some so-called social distancing in classroom. Not that easy. Everybody have to modify. Teacher have to modify. How they're going to do it, I'm not sure. But at least I think so be some distance in the classroom. Then when they go to canteen, for example, school children run for the canteen during the recess time. There's no more. This will be the history. So will be to a school only safely. MOE, the ministry will open for the school. I think after MCO lifted, maybe another 2 weeks. The fastest will be 2 weeks.
Fastest will be 2 weeks. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Very good. Very good. Let me see. Let me just quickly take this question from Grace. As long as we are on the topic of COVID, do you believe that the virus can evolve and that it can cause worse symptoms that it already is giving?
Yeah, just like influenza. Because you must know, virus, there are two types, DNA and RNA. Virus with the RNA, they can change their gene inside. They can do a lot of the segment change. There are three mechanisms how they change. So once they change, they will infect our human without our antibody. Not like influenza, like old influenza, let's say we get infected, we produce antibody. But once the virus have mutation, we call the term mutation. When they attack our human body, the previous antibody will no longer protect our body. So mutate slowly. I always share with parents. Some parents very worried and ask doctor, hey doctor, why my child always fall sick? In fact, once the child falls sick, they try to build the immune system to fight the germ is good. And also like the human. Why human want to get married and produce the next generation? Germ also the same, virus, bacteria. It seems like they always try to take opportunity to attack the human to produce their offspring and spread to others. So in this world, we will never get it out of the infection from the virus and bacteria. So virus also the same. They try to mutate, but what we think the most dangerous will be the RNA virus that combine the human gene and together with the animal gene. That's why they worry this coronavirus, COVID-19, because when they contact tracing in Wuhan, all these people fell sick. They have in touch with the wet market, wild animal market. So this RNA that have mutation, it can be the combination from the animal and also the human. So they are trying to restore it with a new virus member in corona. That's why the COVID-19. So in the future, will it mutate? I'm sure it will again. Then another new corona members come out again. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. That's very clear. That's such amazing answer. I hope that answered for you, Grace. Very good question again. We touched about COVID a little bit. Let's talk a little bit about how this is affecting the health and the medical industry. And also a little bit how has this pandemic actually affected your clinic over the past weeks, and what do you think? What do you see happening for the future if you look at the health and medical industry?
Yeah, I think clinic itself or hospital itself is full with all the germs or that. So parents will have a fear to go to hospital. Social distancing. So again, how to apply the social distancing in our clinic? In fact, now we are doing right now. For example, we go for maybe online appointment, telemedicine, whatever we can consult online or WhatsApp. That's why really luckily now our technology is so advanced. If this one happened about 50, 10 years ago, then it would be very bad. So social distancing applied, online booking, online consultation, that we also have to learn. Is something new for our Malaysian doctors as well. There's a limitation. What we can do, we have to modify the way how to consult. And also like in the children clinic, we try to restrict the visitors. For my clinic, I abolished the waiting area. That one will be the history for my clinic, which last time I have at least 10 patient waiting, now no more. So we adopt the one parent, one child policy. They wait in the car, they come in one by one. That's for the sick children. Then what about the well children? No, we cannot ignore other infectious diseases that can be prevented by the vaccine, which I mentioned just now, like measles. The infectious index, they call R0, is about 15 to 18. It's much more infectious than the COVID. COVID only 3.5. What does this mean? That means one patient with COVID, average, he can spread the germ to 3.5%, as compared to measles. One down with measles can spread to 15 people around him because it's airborne. Airborne, it can spread very fast. Chickenpox also about 5%. So as a comparison, so we try to see whether the vaccine can be postponed after MCO. If can't, they will come to the clinic. Some pediatricians have a designated room separate from the sick child to give vaccination. For me, I give vaccination in the car, but a bit problematic. But after MCO lifted, maybe you have to do some adjustment. Like for example, there's a segregation room for the well child and sick children. Then personal protective equipment. Of course, we are not really a frontliners. We don't wear the really isolation gown, everything like the Star Wars, whatever. But we try to reduce the cross protection. Bear in mind, because COVID-19 in children can be asymptomatic. They might not present as an upper airway infection. They can present at the tummy. They can have a tummy kind of a problem like diarrhea, vomiting. They can running around. So, like my teacher told us in the group, all the children with fever, especially fever with upper airway infection like cough and flu, just assume they are COVID-19. So we try to protect ourselves, goggles, right, the gown, and also the mask as well. But at least 3-ply surgical mask is sufficient for us because we are not treating the COVID positive. So I think all these measures has to be taken, not only me, and also the nurses as well. Then sanitizer anywhere, wherever that the area that will be. Yeah.
Very good, wonderful. Yeah, that is definitely some good preparation. Long ago, the waiting rooms, like you said, right? And then I think it's amazing that you're looking ahead how to deal with this. And this is what every company should start looking into. No waiting rooms, making sure you create that social distancing. And we have to be creative. I think it's just a very creative way and how we have to start working with each other. And luckily, we have technology. I want to touch quickly on something that I have been reading. If you followed the news a little bit, I find it sometimes sad to see that health workers or medical workers, a lot of them are being affected with COVID-19. Why are we having a tough time protecting the health workers from the virus?
Yeah, initially we thought that virus not that infectious. That's why a lot of healthcare providers die in Wuhan. The way, sadly to say that, because you must know ophthalmologists and also the ENT surgeon, they have a close proximity to the patient because they have to check the eye or ear in the very close proximity, and there's a very high chance the virus pass to them. And during that time, we don't wear goggles, we don't wear masks at all, right? And after that, they found out that the virus can spread between 1 meter, the droplet. So that's why initially there's a case. But finally, then come to this awareness, there will be the infection, the cross infection from the patient to the doctor in the ICU, mostly because when the patient collapsed, they couldn't breathe well, they have to do the intubation, usually by the anesthesiologist or intensivist. So there's a very, very close contact to the mouth. So what we call PPE, personal protective equipment, must be fully done on. And the procedure is not, which I also don't know. In fact, all this medical team, they should learn from the beginning. Yeah, but because in Malaysia we have this experience in the outbreak 2009 for the influenza, so they already set up this crisis preparedness and response center. So this initiated, and we have this so-called SOP that will be faster to adapt to it. So I think in Malaysia, as DJ has mentioned, there's no COVID positive among the frontliners. Although there's a medical staff get infected, but that one is different story, different cluster. It's not really the frontliners. I will really proud to say that they really have equipped with all this PPE, because PPE is not easy. Yeah, if you follow the protocol SOP, a lot of things we cannot lack. A lot of things you have to apply correctly. And don't forget, after you have treated the patient, when you take out one piece by one piece, it's not easy. You take out one piece, you have to wash your hand. Take out the goggles, you wash your hand. Take out the gown, you have to wash your hand. Have it step by step. You cannot really,
Yes. Okay, sorry, you were a little hanging in there at the moment. But yes, you were saying they have to wash their hands, take the goggle off, wash their hands, and things like that.
Very tedious.
Talking about washing the hands, that this is for the front line, for the medical workers. What about the normal human being? I also had a question about this from Kim. He asked, Dr. Chin, is it true that after a grocery shopping, we need to sanitize our groceries and immediately shower and change our attire? Is it that drastic what we need to do, or do you say that is a little bit overrated?
Better do it than when you regret we don't do that. Yeah, because the virus can attach to all the plastic and everything. I'm sure you have the knowledge that they share in the WhatsApp, right? For example, virus float on the air for 3 hours, on the metal how many days, on the plastic how many days. Generally about 1 to 4 days. I think you should spray all the plastic. If you can, you just throw the plastic away.
Yeah.
Room. For me, also the same, right? After cleaning, I even more higher risk than you all, right? I don't know which patient that come into my clinic is COVID positive. So what I do is I wear the gown, all right? But of course, this is not a frontliner, the isolation gown with just normal raincoat. Yeah. After before coming back, I take all the gown away. Come back, I quickly go into the shower room. But before I go to shower room, I will wash my hand, take away all the socks, everything outside my house. I put in the plastic, and I quickly go into the shower. That whatever clothes I take out from my body, I will straight throw into the washing machine.
Yeah. Wonderful. That's some great advice. Thank you so much for that. A few final questions that we have. What other major changes will you see in the health and medical industry in the upcoming years? Any other big changes that you expect?
I think towards the telemedicine, online booking, and also the waiting area should be marked no sitting. There will be at least 1 to 2 meters apart. Then the general measure will be all the medical team to do. Lastly, will be I think in terms of the Ministry of Health, they will do more precise contact tracing, because you must know after MCO has been lifted, all right, does not means that COVID will disappear. No, there will be small episodic outbreak anywhere. So every state has a response team. Any small outbreak, the ministry will straight go to the area, close down, shut down, and do a very precise contact tracing and make them at home. It won't outbreak and bring back to another bigger city. So the response team must do a good job after MCO has lifted. Okay. Other than that, they should do the mass testing, which I mentioned, mass screening for the high-risk people, healthcare providers, or the laborers in the very crowded squatter area. All the public transport, shopping mall, maybe cinemas cannot be functioning anymore, and also the school, whatever area that with a big crowd shouldn't be allowed, including maybe some religion-related activity as well.
Oh, okay. Thank you so much again for that information. We're coming very close to an end, by the way, Dr. Chin. We already have been talking almost for 1 hour. And again, I cannot thank you enough for all the value that you shared. I'm quite sure that our audience is also really appreciating everything that you're sharing with us. Just a few final small things, First of all, what do you believe is the biggest lesson that the Malaysian Health Ministry should learn from this health crisis?
All right, I think the most important is when MCO has been announced. Yeah, it's not firm enough to make sure all the people to stay at home. People will think it's like a holiday. That's why you still remember as a holiday. So among the doctors, we so worry. Hopefully 2 weeks later, it won't have another outbreak again. I think maybe we are quite humble people. So when Ministry of Health announced that, it's not really firm enough. I think there's only one point I would like to mention. Other than that, I think so far seems good because we have this one CRPC that really acted very fast because after the outbreak of the pandemic flu in 2009, I think this is very good. That's why they identified which hospital will be isolation ward. There will be a lot of ICU bed. Yeah, so I think the preparedness is very important.
Very good, very good. That does bring me to another question based on your answer just now. Do you think that it would have been better if Malaysia would have done a lockdown instead of an MCO, so that it's more clear, like, no, you just have to stay home?
Prime Minister to announce, because these have to weigh between the social economy, and also don't forget some people is a poor people and they cannot earn the living, so not easy to make. Yeah, because I think at the moment MCO, I think the policy should be like that. I think the first 2 weeks to try MCO seems like quite well controlled. I think if, let's say, after end of March, if MCO not control the outbreak, they might go for complete lockdown. I think there must be the possibility. I think that's why I said the decision making is like not one-off. It's like a continuous dynamic decision. That's why end of March, I think the MCO doing so far so good. That's why they don't go for complete lockdown. I think that's the way I will put my answer like that. Yeah.
Well, wonderful answer. Really great. Just two final questions, right? So again, the schools at a certain point will open again. Children want to play outside. It's not easy to keep children inside. Do you think, by the way, it's safe for children to play outside right now?
Right now, no. I think virus can be anywhere. Like you catch Pokemon. Like last time, Pokemon anywhere, And,
Pokemon.
Yeah. And the most important thing, like the Sun Tzu art of war, you want to fight the war, you must know your enemy. But this virus is invisible. It's really invisible. You don't know where. And some more is asymptomatic for the patient who have a COVID. So I think at the moment, no. But once so-called the graph, the pandemic graph has been flattened off, that means not so many cases happen. Of course, there will be a small cluster outbreak here and there, but the number of cases will be very minimum. Then children can go outdoor for activity, but also practice the self-hygiene, social distancing. That's not easy. Children want to play in a group. You touch me, I chase after you. That is not easy. That's why I think the MOE, the Ministry of Education, will come up with some guidelines, so-called outdoor activity. As a pediatrician, we have their resilience, because at the end of the day, the children must go out to expose some so-called germ to build up their immune system, to soldiers to fight. So exercise for physical growth, bone development, all that. So to strike the balance, it's not that easy. So if you were to ask me now, I think after the outbreak getting less and less, and have to practice social distancing, self-hygiene, but just bear in mind, ask the child to social distance themselves from their peers, wear the mask and play. I can't imagine at the moment. I don't know. Maybe some of the educationists can come up with some kind of a fun game. It's a kind of a social distancing game. Throw the ball with the mask. I don't know.
Yeah, but then every time you catch the ball, you have to clean the ball first, right? Before you can throw it back again.
But definitely, I would encourage you to go outdoor one day. Yeah, we need the sunlight for the vitamin D.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
Again, Dr. Chin, it's unbelievable what you have shared with us tonight. It's great information. As a final reminder to all our audience, right? Just to make sure, we have been now in the MCO for 4 weeks. We have some time to go, right? As a final reminder, what advice would you like to give to people about the virus, and how can we play our part in staying healthy and helping others to stay healthy?
First, I think build up your own immune system. Of course, don't follow the fake news. I think better immune system, that means you take the balanced diet. Yeah, you have a vitamin C from all the veggie and food. Yeah, spend more time for your family. Rethink what you want to do for the next few years of life or few 10 years of life. And at the same time, I think we have to follow the law of the nature. All right, the virus come to us, we will overcome it for sure. Right, another maybe 18 to 24 months, yeah, when the vaccine available. But at the same time, you must be a responsible human. We are just a kind of a passerby on this earth. We have to respect this planet as the earth. The virus send a message to human. We do no harm to this planet. So I think we should be a responsible as a human for this planet.
Wonderful. That is so great information. I have one final question, but before I ask that question, I'm just going to close off already because we are already over 1 hour. So first of all, I would like to thank the audience for being with us tonight. Thank you for your amazing questions. I apologize if there were some lagging moments. We tried to fix it, was not possible, but we got definitely 90% of what Dr. Chin said was able to broadcast. So again, thank you so much for being with us this evening. And of course, Dr. Chin, thank you so much for being with us tonight. It's incredible, the information that you have shared with us. So valuable, good reminders, and also looking ahead, what are the expectations? And at the end of the day, it's what Vicky also says, be a responsible human. Let's be very responsible humans, build up that immunity, build up, a healthy lifestyle, and as we continue, go ahead to a virus-free world. Am I correct?
Yeah. Thank you, all the parents, listeners. Thank you, Cornerstone, and thank you, the host 𝐃𝐑. Very fantastic sharing moment, giving this opportunity for me to share with all of you. Yeah. Together we can fight. Together we can win this war.
Yes, very good. We will definitely win this war together. So again, give you big gratitude to Dr. Chin. Put a thank you in the comment box. Thank him very much, and hopefully we can invite him again in the future if there are so many updates coming along. Dr. Chin, I have one final question for you.
All right.
Let's say I would sponsor you a billboard, and that billboard we would put on the busiest highway of Malaysia, right? What message would you write on that billboard that every Malaysian would read when they pass it by with their car?
Be healthy, be happy in.
Sorry, Dr. Chin, there was a little lagging moment. Can you repeat that again, please?
Be healthy and be happy in life.
Be healthy and be happy in life. Well, if the doctor, that is doctor's order, ladies and gentlemen. So if the doctor says so, then we just have to follow it. Thank you again very much for joining us tonight. Thank you so much, Dr. Chin, again. Very pleasure meeting you. I hope to see you again in the near future. You also, please stay healthy. Good luck with your clinic. And I'm quite sure that all the measures will be taken very carefully. Thank you so much for being with us tonight. Cornerstone and the rest of Malaysia, thank you for being with us tonight. And we will see you again tomorrow here at Cornerstone Night. Have a good evening. Bye-bye.
Thank you, 𝐃𝐑. Bye-bye.